everybody, Cal Banyan here, Cal Banyan's Hypnosis, etc. with L. Ferguson once again. Hey, some people might say, well, you're getting into these controversial things, and, what's happened since last episode? Just so you know, we're going to be recording 4 episodes in a row, so we can't give you feedback on what we've heard from you so far. You just have to go right down there, calbanyan.com, check out the comments, leave a comment, and you'll find out what the discussion is. Before I go any further, let me tell you about L. Ferguson. He is our lead, let me see, how shall I say it, hypnotherapist here. He sees a majority of clients. He helps me with classes as a graduate teaching assistant. He does instant inductions. He does all that kind of fun stuff. And also he's really just a guy that's really interested in what makes people tick. And that's what's got him into the world of hypnotism. He was doing hypnosis before he came to our center, and then he got certified through us. And then, you know what he did? He went through the very painful and agonizing internship program, and that's why he is such an expert. How you doing, Elron?
I'm doing good. Right now I'm just thinking, what makes Cal tick? What would that be? Because for those of you who don't know...
Wait a minute, I thought you were going to talk about your tie.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Isn't it nice? It's a great tie. It really is.
Stand up, pose, show us your tie.
It's wonderful. It matches... No, never mind what it matches. I'll talk about that later.
Okay. So what were you saying about...
I bought a new car, okay? It's true.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So this doesn't match my old car anymore. Anyway.
Very sporty, nice-looking car. Very much nicer than the purple thingamajig you had before. What was that thing you had before?
Wasn't that terrible? I don't even know what kind it was, but it got me from point A to point B. I run it like 140,000 miles. I hit deer with that thing. But it was sad to see it go, but not that sad, if you know what I mean.
Was that up in Oregon?
Yeah, I had it in Oregon, Colorado, bought it in North Carolina.
Well, Oregon's kind of like Minnesota, because, you guys know I was up in Minnesota for a long, long time. The deer are so bad up there, when you get your driver's license, you have to get a deer hunting license at the same time, because people are bagging more deer with their cars than they are with their rifle.
That was my only disappointment, that the deer got up and walked away after it ruined my car.
Ow.
Yeah, anyway, I might get hate mail for that. So, for those of you that don't know who Cal is, gosh, Cal synthesized 5-path. He's an originator, he's a revolutionary, he's a synthesist, and he's a teacher. And he taught me just about everything I know that actually works about hypnosis. And I had a lot of training, spent a lot of money. I came here, went through the internship, and Cal and I were talking the other day about hypnosis and different techniques. And, gee, Cal, well, what about this technique? What do you think about that as compared to, the way that we do age regression? And Cal just said this. Well, there's a difference between good and great. And that's really what it comes down to, don't you think, Cal?
Gosh, I don't even remember saying that, but if I said that, I was spot on. Spot on. Hey, so what are we doing today?
Well, we're going to pick up on the cliffhanger that we left off on last episode. But would you like to remind them just real briefly of the topic and the criteria that we're using?
My opening statements.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
See if you can paraphrase.
Hey, all right. Hey, if you guys want to become a 5-pather, a 1%er, a 7-path teacher, really move to what I think is, one of the best in the profession, remember to check out my courses. You can go to hypnosiscenter.com. You can go to hypnosis.org, O-R-G, where we organize the world of hypnosis for you. And we also typically have a list right over, wait a minute. I think I've been pointing the wrong direction all this time. I don't know. One of these sides of this website, there's links up there. I keep thinking it's got to be over there. It's my entire schedule. Okay, here is our criteria, because we know we're getting into some stuff where people might be maybe hurt feelings or offended or have completely different points of view. So let me just say, opening statements. We retain, got another clipboard here, we retain the right to change our minds when confronted with new information. Not new opinions. Just having a new opinion, that's not going to have much of an effect on us. 2, these hypnosis videos are podcasts, and they're not intended to be a complete discussion or dissertation on the topic. We're not lawyers. We're not giving legal advice. Use common sense. We're not doing medical stuff. We're not doctors. We're not giving medical advice. Do not practice medicine or psychology without a license. Always obey laws where you live and practice. Basically, be smart, use common sense, and if you want to continue this conversation, you can do it in the comments section below, or, hey, join the NGH, start a chapter, and argue among yourselves. How's that, Elron?
That's perfect. So...
Hey, Maureen, my wife told me that I look pink today. So you guys, if I look pink, it's because even though it is like wintertime in California, I feel so bad. I mean, we hear about Australia, this catastrophic flooding, then all the snow that's been going all over the Midwest and the East Coast, and me, I'm out riding my Harley, I'm out riding my bicycle. I did a 30-mile ride up to Cook's Corner, local biker bar. Didn't stop in because I was on my bicycle, and in, those little stretchy pants doesn't really work good in a biker bar. Anyway, so that's why I look red, and last episode also. All right, hey, let me go through my next list. The decisions we're going to make with regard to these topics are according to this criteria. First, our opinions should, with regard to the topic, number 1, do no harm. Number 2, must be legal where you're practicing. 3, it must be ethical. Number 4, must be effective. Number 5, it must be good for the profession. And 6, there's individual differences. What might be right for one person or one situation, either be it the hypnotherapist or the client, may differ according to different circumstances. All right. Anything you want to add to that?
You said it all, Cal.
All right. Why don't you catch us up on what we covered so far last time?
Okay. We were just starting to talk about how long should certification training be to be a hypnotherapist, and to see if we can establish some standards on that. We established early on that both Cal and I are of the opinion that there should be a minimum number of hours of at least 100. Isn't that right, Cal?
Well, that's what I thought.
That's right. But there should be a minimum number of hours, and that 3 days just don't cut it. We want there to be a minimum number of hours. Basically, yeah, that's what we established, is that instead of it just being a free-for-all, okay, you say you're good at hypnotherapy, whatever, print a business card, do whatever you want, 1 day, 2 day certifications. There should be a minimum number of hours, and not just a free-for-all, some type of certification. But I was about to come back with my 2 cents after Cal said that, well, I'm pretty happy with the 100, 125 hours that we do with the NGH. I think that's a good start. I will kick it up another notch with my opinion on that. I think it should be more than that. Massage therapists have to have, even depending on like the most lax requirement might be like 600 hours to be a massage therapist. Let's just say 500 to 1,500 hours to be a massage therapist. And yet to be a hypnotherapist, you don't have to have anything. With the NGH, we have to have 100 hours. I think it should be 200. Ideally, my dream would for it to be a minimum of 500 hours, like totally 500 on-set hours, coaching, all that sort of thing. That's probably not going to happen anytime soon, but let's just say my statement is it should be a little bit more than 100 hours. That's what I think. Why? Because you're investing in a career. I mean, this is a career choice. This is not a hobby. Hopefully, if you're doing this, it's a career choice. And any actual career, if you want to go get paid $100 a session, $200 a session, don't you think you owe it to yourself and your clients to invest over 100 hours? I understand you can learn a lot in 100 hours. Okay, 100 hours of direct classroom time, direct application. Let's think about that 100 hours after breaks and everything like that. Maybe it's not actually 100 hours. I don't know, just depending on that. But I think it should be more than that. You are a technician. People go to film school for a year. If you want to learn any type of skill, hypnosis, yeah, on one hand it's a soft skill because it's communication based. But if you want to be a great age regression technician, that is a skill set that takes some time to develop. And I think that there should be supervision built in, and it should be more than 100 hours. Furthermore, I also think that there should be prerequisites to be a hypnotherapist. for one. I think that some people should, and this is kind of getting into treacherous territory, but it'd be nice if there was a couple of psych tests out there for people that go into this profession in one way or another, and that they have some type of a prerequisite that would enter them into it, saying like, hey, you know, I'm going to treat this professionally. Your turn, Cal. Your response.
I am blown away by our difference of opinion on this. Okay. Now I let you have your piece.
All
So
right,
let
bring
me
it on.
get in here now. First of all, it's so what if it takes 600 hours to get certification as a massage therapist? I don't care. It's irrelevant to what it takes to be a good hypnotist. And second of all, there's things you could do in massage therapy that could be harmful. And again, maybe they should be licensed. I don't know. Maybe some places they are. I just don't know. It's not my profession. And so it's a totally different beast. And the fact that that you can graduate from like our certification course, do what you learned in 125 hours worth of training, and make $100 per session or more. We've had special cases where people have actually charged $200 or $300 more upon graduation. Of course, not everybody's going to do that. Some people, they go to poorer places and they're charging much less than that. Or maybe they don't have confidence, they charge much less than that. How much you charge for your service should not be based on the number of hours worth of training you've had, but on the reputation you build for getting results. And that's that. Yeah. So also, psych tests. What are you, crazy? Come on. Okay, you know what?
You know where that comes from, Cal?
Where did you grow up in? Oregon or something like that?
Let
I don't
me just
know.
justify that a little bit.
Yeah, no, you had your chance. You can come back in a minute, okay?
All
right. See, psych tests. Okay, so now we're going to have psychological professionals decide who can and who cannot practice in our profession. Should we go see a psychiatrist first? Or should we go see a psychologist first? Or some mental health psych professional to determine whether or not we're mentally healthy enough to work in our profession? And who would pay for this? And should this be a government? Here we go, another government organization that's going to decide whether we can or cannot practice our profession. And I am not for that at all. Now, as I said in the first part, the pros are of having a minimum number of hours is setting a particular number of hours could help with the credibility to the public. It increases the likelihood of sufficient training. However, the number of hours, here's my cons. The number of hours does not necessarily assure good or adequate training. There are schools out there who provide 4 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times the number of hours of some of the best schools, and don't really get into the kinds of topics or provide the kinds of skills, abilities that some of the really, really good condensed courses like ours do. Another problem with having 100, 200, 300, 400 hours is the danger of people thinking that just because one school or organization has more hours, then it is better than the other. Okay, Elron, I think you spent too much time in Oregon. I know we're going to get hate mail from Oregon. How about San Francisco? Because you really seem to have this government take care of us kind of attitude.
Government take care of us attitude. Yeah, well, I actually think that my opinions are kind of conservative, Cal. I don't know.
Yeah, compared to people
going
who
with
live in Oregon and San
going with the
Francisco.
whole free-for-all, let's just do whatever we want, that's, I don't know, you're sounding... well, we'll just drop that like a hot potato.
Okay, nice tie-dye t-shirt, man.
Yeah, perhaps, instead of a psych test, people could have letters of reference. The reason I say that, Cal, is I've met some people in some hypnotherapy schools that have just really made me wonder, like, wow, you're going to be going out there and representing my profession? Somebody shoot me. That's that's where that comes from. That's just a personal experience point of view, and for you guys out there, that's not backed up by any empirical evidence. Please don't go out there saying, there should be psych tests. But you know what? Why don't you leave some comments below on that and tell me about your experience going to hypnotherapy school and some of the people that you've met in different life coach trainings, or maybe you've been networking your services and you've been across the table from some people that are saying that they do what you do, but they don't do what you do at all. And, by them networking themselves at the same networking event, it's actually bringing you down. That's all I wanted to say about that. But, not all hypno schools are created equal. And it's something that I always say. Every single day that I spent training with you, Cal, was worth 7 of the days that I spent training at my other hypnotherapy school, because unlike a lot of hypnotherapists out there that get trained with the NGH, I had a prior certification. I got 700 hours of training doing all sorts of different stuff. I didn't find as much value in that as with the training that I got with you. However, if we're talking about standards in the profession, it's funny because in order for there to be longer hours, there needs to be better quality of training, and you can't have one without the other. Okay, so you can, because this is the field of person development, and you can make something into 2,000 hours, and you can make 1,900 hours of that personal development oriented. I mean, you can do firewalks, and you can lead people around blindfolded, and you can, make T-shirts and do exercises to increase your healing presence, and none of those are necessarily going to make you a better practitioner or a better technician, because when we dealing with the subconscious mind with very complicated and deep-seated issues, it does get very technically oriented. We have criteria that we need to follow. Things need to make sense in more ways than just going with the script or going with a specific technique or just going with some pseudo-hypnotherapeutic techniques that don't really actually take the client in mind and customize themselves. But, last statement from me is I think it should be over 100 hours. That would be fantastic, just to have something to talk about to differentiate yourself, and of course, once again, my old soapbox, protect the consumer and the hypnotherapists themselves, and to differentiate us from other people that get seen as doing the same thing that we do, but they don't. They do like life coaching or person development, or they're like a spiritual guide or something like that, and we are hypnosis technicians. Especially as a 5-path, we deal with the hardest cases, having success where everything else has failed. We get the creme de la crap, like we always say, deep-seated, complicated issues. So that's all I have to say about that.
All right. Yeah, you promise. We'll see. Hey, you know what? So how many hours do you think it should be? Put out a number. What's the minimum number of hours you'd like to see us get to, within, I don't know, you give the time frame. Is it 1 year, 6 months, 5 years, whatever?
Within the next 20 years? How about, I'll do better than that. Within the next 10? Okay. I'd like to, because I'm trying to think of probabilities other than just wishful thinking. Within the next 10 years, I'd like to see a minimum of 300 hours.
Okay. All right. I don't necessarily think that would be a bad thing. I want to invite everybody to, and we'll put a link below, to read my Hypnosis Manifesto, where I really talk about where I think we are now and where we need to go into the future. But let me just say this. I think ultimately what I'd like to see is not something based on hours at all. I think ultimately, and I talk about time frames in the Hypnosis Manifesto. Just look that up, Hypnosis Manifesto, and you'll find what I really think. And you can argue with me about it there. I don't care. I have the right to change my mind. If you got good ideas, I'm open to them. But eventually that we would have bachelor's degrees, maybe associate arts degrees at first, then bachelor's degrees in hypnosis, hypnotism, hypnotherapy, or at least have it as a minor to the other helping professionals, like a psychology degree with a minor in hypnotherapy or something like that, and then eventually move that on up to graduate school, where you'd have graduate school that would typically split off into specializations there, where someone looks more at the more cognitive, behavioral, emotional aspects of the work, and another one that goes more into the medical aspects at the master's level. And then at the PhD level, instead of having these PhDs that don't mean anything, well, you've heard me go on my tirades about these PhDs in hypnotism, which actually aren't real, at least not in the United States. We would have PhDs which are more like research degrees, where we really could use a better scientific basis for what we do. Research is being added all the time, but I think what the problem is the research that's being done in the field by psychologists or medical people. They pretty much keep it to themselves, and if we had a branch of hypnosis that went through the associate's degree and then the bachelor's degrees up into the master's degrees, PhDs, then those PhDs would disseminate good research information right down the line to the practitioners in the field. So what do you think of that?
I think that's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, that's the ultimate goal of everything, is that people actually have a degree in hypnotherapy. How about a degree in 5-path, Cal?
No, I don't think so. I think a degree in hypnosis, it's like you don't get degrees in Skinnerian psychology. You don't get degrees in cognitive behavioral psychology. You get degrees in psychology, and then you typically would then specialize or like a particular kind of approach and use it. So, no, I don't think so. Let me ask you one thing, because we may use up a little bit more time on this. What should happen, if that did happen, if we had, let's say there's a bachelor's degree, and what should happen to all the people who choose not to get bachelor's degrees? I mean, that's typically a 4-year degree, and that's quite a big deal.
So all the other hypnosis practitioners that have regular certification but don't have the degree, like the new people coming into the profession, is that your question? What should they do?
Well, the people who are already certified to do the work, what should happen to them if all of a sudden it becomes required that you have to have a bachelor's degree?
Oh, now your question starts to go. Are you asking that? But just because there's a bachelor's degree available doesn't mean that it's required to have a bachelor's degree. But are you saying, like, maybe in a world where you have to have a bachelor's degree to have hypnosis, now you're saying that, are you asking a what-if question? What if you had to have a bachelor's degree in hypnosis to practice hypnotherapy, then what then, or what?
Well, I'm looking at you as the proponent of licensure.
Okay.
And a proponent of increasing number of hours, and we seem to agree that one good way to increase the number of hours would be through a more academic approach, academic practitioner approach, such as degree programs. And if that eventually happens, as you'd like it to happen, what should happen to people like you and me who do not have degrees and as such may not be eligible for licensure?
Okay, well, so let me answer your question, assuming that this whole thing about licensure, that you have to be a licensed hypnotherapist. And in order to be a licensed hypnotherapist, you have to have a degree in hypnotherapy. I'll answer that question, and then I'll answer your question in a different way, assuming that the hypnosis degree is just available, but that the other people don't have one.
All right, no, Ron, we'll let you have it both ways.
All right, assuming licensure. You got to be licensed in order to practice hypnotherapy. In order to be licensed, you got to have a degree in that. What should all the other people do? Well, I mean, obviously, all the other people will be just totally out of luck, which wouldn't be a good thing. I think that there should be some type of if you want me to troubleshoot a solution to that, there should be a bridging degree certification program, maybe like something that's 2 years, that would solve that problem. Obviously, if that was just instated automatically, there'd be a whole lot of angry people that would have their livelihood yanked away from them immediately. Now, let me say this. In order to be licensed, I would want people to have, a related mental health degree or psychological degree, not necessarily just have a degree in hypnotherapy to be a licensed hypnotherapist. So that would save it right there, but maybe like a 2-year bridging certification or something like that with the university. Now, if there is a degree available in hypnosis and people can get that degree, what's that going to do to the other hypnosis professionals that don't have no degree in hypnosis and are certified hypnotherapists but not ultra certified hypnotherapists? What's going to happen to them? Well, maybe they should all be burned at the stake. No, just kidding. I guess you would have to leave that up to the consumer to decide what to do with them. Obviously, the people who have a degree in hypnotherapy, if it's nationally recognized, will have an advantage. However, let me just say this. The consumer right now, your average person, has no idea that a degree in hypnotherapy doesn't exist. Most people that come in the office, I'll say about 90% of them, number one, they just assume that I have my master's degree, maybe even my PhD in psychology, or that I'm an MFT. They just assume that right off the bat. They don't even question it. Part of that has to do with my placement in this professional office and the affiliations and how effective our marketing is and the way that we present ourselves professionally. However, like I said, your average person doesn't even know that a degree in hypnotherapy doesn't exist. And if somebody says degree in hypnotherapy right now, even if it's not a real degree, 95% of the consumers don't know that, and they think that all hypnotherapy degrees are real. In fact, they believe everything they hear anyway. And so if it comes down to, people getting real degrees in hypnotherapy, and maybe there's some type of a ghost of a regulation out there that says unless you have a degree in a related profession, which should happen to the rest of them, I think that they should have a little bit of pressure put on them to enter some type of a bridge of coursework to get some stuff done. Maybe learn some basic counseling techniques just to prove that they're making an effort. Okay, maybe they should be required to get some type of academic or state-regulated CEUs in order to say, maybe there could be a fix to that problem of if you've been in the profession this and this long, if you've had your certification for this long, then you have to complete this many CEUs, that are regulated by the American Psychological Association in order to keep your certification in hypnosis. Those are some solutions to that problem. What do you think about that, Cal?
I think we're out of time, and we're going to have to leave it at that.
I think that's it. Why don't you just wrap it up and have the last word on this topic so we can switch to something next week?
Well, I think that I've said all I want to say. Unless new information comes out, you have a right to your opinion, I have a right to mine. There's quite a lot of overlap there, so you can continue to work at the center, and everything will be fine. All right, so go ahead and let's pick a topic for, even though we won't have time to get into it. Let's do next week in the next episode. Either should hypnotists offer a percentage of services pro bono, or we can do does stage hypnosis harm the profession? And we'll decide next week, the next episode, which of those are going to be. But that could be kind of a heads up about what's going on. How's that sound?
Awesome, Cal.
All right, man. Wrap it up.
All right, this has been a great episode. We've gotten the chance to air our opinions on stuff. And like we always say, when new information comes in or a convincing argument comes in, we have the right to change our minds. And things are black and white, but at the end of the day, it's kind of gray, because at the end of the day, we all love hypnosis, respect a lot of people in the profession. There's a lot of good people doing work, but there's a lot of people not doing good work. So let's have some standards in this profession. Thanks for watching. L. Ron Ferguson, signing off.
That's right, and before you know it, L. Ron is going to establish the hypno police and the hypno handcuffs and the hypno prison and hypno psychological testing and all that stuff. Okay, Cal Banyan, visit hypnosiscenter.com. My schedule is there. Hypnosis.org, where we organize the world of hypnosis to you. You can get a free directory listing there, by the way. And you don't have to undergo psychological testing. All right, Cal Banyan, signing off. This recording is the property of Cal Banyan and Cal Banyan's Banyan Publishing Incorporated. All rights reserved for private use only. May not be duplicated without written permission.